P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.
The Doll, Part 2. "I think I'm going to put you here," Abby said as she finished brushing her new doll's hair. Like its eyes, the hair was incredibly lifelike, soft and smooth. She put the pigtails back in and placed the doll on the dresser. Yeah, this is a good spot. In truth, it didn't really matter where she put it. The doll was always looking at her. After brushing her teeth, Abby crawled into bed. A moment later, her mother came in to tuck her in. She noticed the doll and said, "That's what you picked up from the yard sale?" Abby nodded. "Yep." "Does she have a name?" "Guinevere," Abby blurted. Her mother made a face. "Guinevere?" "Yeah, Guinevere." "What an odd name," her mother remarked. And it was. Abby wasn't even sure why she'd said it. She'd never heard the name before, but it just seemed right. Guinevere. "Okay, good night, sweetie." "Good night, Mom." Her mother kissed her on the forehead and left her room. "Good night, Guinevere," Abby said. And for a split second, she thought she heard that childish giggle again. But then it was gone and Abby fell asleep. Sometime during the night, Abby felt something cold on her shoulder. She opened her eyes and was immediately awake. Guinevere was lying beside her, staring into her eyes. Abby slowly got out of bed and moved away from the doll, a cold sweat on her forehead. Guinevere's eyes followed her as she moved to the door and peered into the hallway. She could see all the way into her mother's room, and she was still fast asleep. It wasn't her. Did I do it? Did I accidentally move the doll? Abby wondered. She distinctly remembered putting it on the dresser. Maybe I sleptwalked? Abby picked up the doll and put it back on the dresser. Then she slid beneath the covers. "You stay there, Guinevere. Just stay put." Abby stared at the doll's eyes until she fell asleep. It was still dark out when Abby awoke for a second time. This time it wasn't because there was something cold on her arm, but because she'd heard a sound. The distinct sound of scissors closing. Abby bolted out of bed. Guinevere was back. Not only that, but there was a pair of scissors lying right beside her. Abby instinctively put her hand to her head and felt around. There didn't seem to be any hair missing. Then she checked her arms and legs for any injuries. There were none. Still, Guinevere was staring at her, and those scissors... "Mom? Mom!" She heard a noise from the hallway, and Abby backed toward the door. As always, Guinevere's eyes were locked on hers the entire time. "Mom!" Abby's mother burst into her room. "What's wrong? Honey, what's wrong?" "The doll. Guinevere, it has scissors." "What?" Abby pointed at the scissors and the doll lying in her bed. "Look!" Her mother crossed her arms over her chest. "This isn't funny, Abby. I have work in the morning." "I know it's not funny. The doll, I put it on the dresser." Abby's mother clearly didn't believe her. "Stop this. Stop this right now." She strode over to the bed and grabbed the doll. Its head flopped backwards, but somehow its eyes remained locked on Abby's. "I've had enough. I'm going to put this in the basement for the rest of the night. And then tomorrow, we're going to return to the yard sale and give it right back. What do you think about that?" her mother asked. I think that's a great idea," Abby said softly. She should never have stolen it in the first place. "Good, that settles it. Now put the scissors away and go to bed." Abby, still terrified, watched her mother leave with the doll and then put the scissors back in the bathroom. She made sure to close her door before she went back to bed. Sleep was a long time coming, but when it finally came, it didn't last long. Less than 5 minutes after she started to snore, Abby was awake again. And this time she knew something was wrong even before she saw Guinevere and the scissors. Her head was cold. No, it was freezing. Abby reached up and touched her head. Her hair was almost all gone. While she wasn't bald, there were clumps missing from all over, the sides, front, back, everywhere. The only hair she had left were small patches here and there. "My hair," she said, and then she screamed it out loud. "My hair! What happened to my hair?" The only reply was a giggle from Guinevere, who was back in her bed. To be continued.
P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.